What is up, everybody? I am George Mossey. Say hello to my co-host, Heather C.
Hi.
So this is the George Mossey Show. We're talking Extreme Sisters, Season 2, Episode 4. First things first, there was no V and Ashley this week. We're going to catch up with them on their journey and see how things are going with this baby that V is gifting to Ashley, and hopefully that is going well. But we did check in with Randy and Jordan. It's time for Randy and Derek to become fiancés. And we know that Jordan has been orchestrating this process all the way down to the ring and how it's going to take place, where it's going to take place. It actually took place in Crockett, Texas, which is the amazing country town of Texas. It's literally everything I thought it would be. When I saw it, I was like, this is exactly what the girls were explaining and describing to us when they were talking about where they grew up. And even meeting their, I feel like everything was so accurate. They told us everything about it. Their dad, Mike, he said that he was very intimidating to all of their boyfriends, which I feel like that's kind of a country dad thing, right? I think I always hear the story of girls saying that their dad would polish their shotgun whenever their boyfriend would come over to the house, and they said that their dad would always never wear a shirt and assert his dominance. And I feel like that's understandable to have two twin daughters and you don't know these men and you don't trust these men. But actually their dad loves Derek. He actually said that he gave him the blessing a long time ago. So he was like, I don't know when this is going to happen, but I think Derek is a good guy. I think he's a good guy for Randy. He was really happy for this situation to take place. And I think the next level in this phase is the twins are ready for their men to move into the same house and they're going to live together forever. Now, the guys are like, I don't mind living together, but I don't think that we should live together forever. So there's a pros and cons list here. So I know sharing a house between the four of them, even the girl said it, it's a lot cheaper than buying two different houses, paying two different mortgages, two different light bills, two different bills, or all these things. So there are pros and cons. But how would you feel? Okay, so you have sisters. Would you want to move in with your sister and her husband for the rest of your life? Is that something that is a feasible thing to ask someone to do?
Okay, I don't really feel like that's a fair a fair thing to ask because
Yeah, because you aren't as close as Randy and Jordan, so you're right. It's not as fair.
no. I'm normally like the type that doesn't want to be bothered 99.9% of the time. So, I don't think I would want to live with my sisters. I mean, not anything against them. I love them dearly, but I'm not a twin. I'm not a triplet. I didn't grow up like being like the same type of person. So I don't think I would, but I do understand why they would. They're
Mm.
so close and they're twins, their fiancés are twins. It just makes sense. They like to do everything together. They're inseparable. So I feel like there's two different types of twins. There's like the Christina and Jess where they're able to live two different lives and coexist, have two different families, but they still like to do everything together and hang out and be besties. And then there's the other set of twins that are like Anna and Lucy and like Jordan and them where they love to do everything together. They want to be together at all times. So I think I would fall more underneath the Christina and Jess than I would the other ones.
Yeah, so Randy and Jordan say that they're a family. And the idea of them not being together, we have to remember during their first episode, they were like, we had to have our parents go to the school and tell them, you can't separate them. They have to be able to sit next to each other, have lunch together, and do things together. That's just how it's going to be. So now that they're getting married to a set of twins, they feel like we're now one big family and we should be doing literally everything together. And the guys are like, yeah, we're twins and we're close, but we're not close to the point where we want to live together forever. I think Derek and Daniel said that 1 year is like the most or the maximum amount of time that they want to make the situation happen. But I don't think they fully understand how serious Randy and Jordan are. They have no intentions of ever not staying together. This point where they weren't living together this short amount of time when she had an apartment, Randy was living on her own. That's it. They're not doing that anymore. This is how it's going to be. So I'm wondering how this is going to play out because the guys tend to give the girls what they want. Even they said it. They said in these relationships between these two guys, they always get their way. So it seems like Derek and Daniel are just going to have to pack up and move in together. And that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like once they probably get into it, it might be a little bit easier. I mean, it's not like they live in a really small house where they'll be on
Right.
top of each other. I mean, the house seems very big, very spacious. So I feel like they might even have their own separate like wing of the house. So it'd be like they kind of coexist and not so much like on top of each other. So, but yeah, I like to say congratulations to them on their engagement,
Yeah,
and
and
I know
congrats to
she is
Jordan
so
for planning
excited.
that.
Yeah, she did a great job. She knows her sister, even though he didn't give her credit because she asked, and he's like, "No, no, didn't know hope at all." but,
I'm pretty sure
but
Randy
yeah,
knows that it said Jordan all over that proposal. I'm pretty sure Randy knows. She knows her sister better than anyone. So I'm sure she knows that Derek had little, very little influence in what
right.
happened there. So I know she would know that. So I want to talk about Anna and Lucy. So they have come to a consensus because they found out that Anna hasn't, well, they knew this. Anna has had an infected tooth 3 times over. The third time is the charm. It has to come out, which I thought of an infected tooth had to come out regardless. I had no idea that you could leave them in. My dentist always told me it has to come out. So the idea that it stayed in this long, I'm pretty sure is not good for her health. So they decided that the tooth has to come out. And Lucy has decided she wanted the dentist to look into her mouth and see what he could find. He actually found an impacted wisdom tooth that is kind of growing sideways. Based on what I saw, it didn't look good. Whatever the situation was, it didn't look good. So he said that he can remove that. So it is going to be a tooth for a tooth, even though it's not the same tooth. And there are complications. He said since it's so close to the nerve, she could lose feeling in part of her face, which is super scary. You know, I would hate for that to happen. And it's a tooth that doesn't necessarily need to come out right now, making it even more of a risk. So I'm worried that them doing things together are putting each other's health at risk. And I know it has to be the same. And so I want to jump over to the baby situation again, because they went out, they took the dolls out, and they actually saw a woman with a son and twins. So this really caught their attention. They called her over to the table and they had the conversation about how they wanted to be moms at the same time. And she let them hold the babies. And Anna and Lucy had a realization. They were like, these babies are a lot of work. And to be a mom to one baby is like a job for 10 people. Being moms to two babies at the same time would make them less alike because they would have to focus on each of these children individually and not on each other. And they don't even know if they're ready to compromise in that way because Anna and Lucy are one unit and they do things together. And the idea that they would have to start focusing all of their time on someone other than each other might actually be too much for them.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they only held the baby for like 5 minutes and already they were like, nope. No, no, thank you. And they were actually behaving themselves. I mean, considering the fact that they were, you know, infants, I think that, they could have been screaming bloody murder or, like throwing temper tantrums, but they were just kind of playing with her hair a little bit and trying to get her earrings. So, things that children do all the time. They like to see and touch and stuff like that. So maybe just kind of stick with the dolls a little bit longer. I
Yep.
know that it's heartbreaking for their mother because she really wanted to see them, bring grandbabies into the world for her. But if you're not ready to have a baby, you're not ready to have a baby. It's a very big lifelong commitment.
Lifelong. It's forever. You're a mom for the rest of your life. And I think it really hit that realization for them because they were like, we are so focused on each other and so focused on being the same. These two living babies would take over our lives. And I think that they really understand that commitment. And I don't know. I feel like I want them to be moms because they deep down really want to do that. But I was thinking maybe they could spend more physical time with babies, like babysitting, maybe find an aunt or a family member or a niece or nephew, someone in the family who they can spend more time with just so they can get a better realization of the process because like you said, it's forever. And if they get these babies and they're like, oh my god, we can't spend any time together, I don't even know what my sister's doing, I'm so busy taking care of this baby and changing diapers and feeding it and bathing, and they're gonna really have to change their relationship. And their entire lives have been this relationship of them being the same. So now they're kind of at a crossroads. They don't really know what would be the best choice for them. And I hope they're able to figure that out. And I hope that Anna and Lucy are able to get this dentist situation taken care of in a safe manner. I don't want anyone to suffer their health for them to be the same. I know how important it is, but it's also important for them to be healthy. All right, guys. So that's all for this part 1 of this episode of the Extreme Sisters George Mossey Show Season 2, Episode 4 podcast. We'll be back because we have to talk about Jess and Christina. And I have a huge bone to pick because I feel like something happened on the episode that really got to me. And then we're going to also talk about the triplets and how no matter what any of them do, they all get blamed for everything. So we have to talk about that too. I'm George Mossey. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com, and anywhere you get your podcast. And you need to follow my co-host too, Heather C. Her links are right here at the bottom. We're going to talk to all of you guys really soon.